1, 2, 3. Hi.
She called me out, so I'm not saying it.
Yeah. All right. Hi.
Hi.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of
Be Uplifted. Wah!
Nice. All right. Welcome, guys. How are you?
Good.
Full.
Full? Yeah, we just got done eating.
Thank you,
I just
Vince.
got off of work, so...
We didn't exactly get
work.
done. One of us just stopped eating, but whatever.
Oh, I didn't know if you were supposed
It's all
to
good.
asking.
No,
I'm
it's all good.
sorry. Because I know last time we were like, don't eat. Not don't eat, but like you got...
Why? That had the most engagement when we were
people
eating
were like,
our
"Oh my
Rich's
God,
birthday.
Okay, you want me to go get the food again so
Nope.
you can eat? Okay.
Nope.
Now he's being mad. Sorry.
Not now being mad. I've been mad.
Okay, you're right. That's true. Okay. So, have you guys been?
Well, I mean, life happening. So
We missed a couple episodes.
yeah,
Life's been lifing.
life's been laughing. But you know how you fix that is that if you guys all subscribe and actually watch these videos, then maybe this can be somebody's full-time job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm working 2 jobs right now, guys. So let's
Yeah.
make this my hustle, okay?
Or sponsor the video. See this wall we have over here? This wall?
Yep.
You can have your company's poster or whatever.
Yes, that.
It's like an ad, like
Yep.
you know, like in a flyer, like in football games, you saw ad space. So the small one will be this much, the big one, you decide.
So if you want it up there,
Yeah.
hit up him or him.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. And we're serious too, so. Okay.
You sound so convincing. You're like,
No, I'm serious.
sounds so serious.
Do it.
Do it.
Wait, is that the camera I'm looking at? Which camera? am I
Whichever. You can look,
can look at
that
that
one.
one.
Either of these two.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you could look at that one, but that's not going to do you any favors.
I'm all looking away in all of the shots. Okay, so I hate to start it off on a, not the funnest episode, but I did want to bring to our attention that it is September.
Mm-hmm.
And September brings up a very serious and delicate issue, so I didn't want to be insensitive or ignorant to that, because I feel like it's something that some people really need to hear. So hopefully if any of our listeners, if this episode resonates with you guys, I hope you guys listen and you get something out of it. Kuya, do you know what month it is and what I'm talking about by any chance?
Yeah, because we talked about it earlier.
I know.
Damn, you have to play it off like you're so smart, bro.
No.
I'm just kidding. Okay, so let our viewers and listeners know. What is it?
It's Suicide Prevention Month.
Suicide Prevention and Awareness Month is September. So if you guys don't know that, now you know.
And just to be clear, we're not oblivious to the fact that it's also 9/11 Remembrance Month.
Yes. So it's a very serious month. There's a lot that's been going on.
And has gone on.
And we're very aware of that. But I kind of wanted to touch on this more just because the other stuff is very political, and
yeah,
we can discuss that other times. I don't want to make someone want to commit suicide over it.
It's just not what we do here.
Yeah.
And
we all
hopefully,
have very strong opinions, but we don't do that here.
well, it's also like this space is almost like an escape from all that,
of
because I'm
that,
pretty sure you guys get flooded by that.
Exactly. We
Especially-
wanted this to be a kind of like a quote unquote safe space, a fun space, where we can talk about anything.
Nothing safe around Vince.
Well, I mean, he's safe to behave the way
Wait,
he
hold
behaves.
on. Wait. This is my space. This is the safest place for me.
I know. We're all using his space against him. Okay, so on that note, let me just put that warning out there too, because I just wanted to put that out there for anyone watching. This may be a triggering episode. Please be mindful of that. There might be some things that we discuss that might trigger you or might bring up some emotions, but I hope you stick through, because we also have some resources at the end of this that you can use if you are going through something.
Yes.
So basically, I wanted to talk about this because I wanted any of our listeners that are going through something to know that they're not alone, and to know that there's help out there, and that even watching this episode and seeking knowledge, I feel, is a step in the right direction, So on that note, we'll go ahead and get started. I wanted to ask either one of you, and please, let's try to be serious a little bit, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Just for like 5 minutes, guys. Have either of
An
you...
hour-long episode.
No, that is exactly what I thought. I was like, good thing it's an hour long.
Okay.
All right.
Have either of you experienced times of struggle? And I'm going to share too, because there is mental health awareness month, but so this is like for everybody. Okay. Yeah. So have either of you or me experienced times of struggle or dark times where you felt hopeless and you wanted to give up? So have you ever experienced that emotion that this month is kind of the theme of this month is about?
Yeah. I mean, there's always, there times in your life, there's like a roller coaster. There's always going to be those times when you kind of question everything. Mm-hmm. You question your existence. You question whether or not things get better if you just weren't there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Have you ever experienced those type of feelings?
Yeah, all the time.
So would you guys be willing to share a specific story or time in your life where you can reflect back on it and tell us about that time?
Yeah, I mean, it was the circumstances leading to my divorce. Then obviously there's, compound that with financial stress. Mm-hmm. Then you have work stress. Mm-hmm. Then you have daily life stress. It's almost like those old commercials. I mean, because obviously we're on the internet now, so we don't see the commercials. It's like, remember those depression commercials, mm-hmm. where the guy's walking around and has a cloud
over his head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but this is a heavy cloud. It's mm-hmm. like, it's not only a cloud, but it's a cloud that weighs down on you.
Yeah. Mm. Where it almost feels like it's pushing you into the ground.
Yeah, it's almost like, and then you're trying to get it off of you, and then you're like, it almost seems like you have trouble breathing, and you're like, that's it, I give up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're at that point where you're just like, that's it, I'm done with this. I'm ready to give up.
So that's one of the times that you can recall in your life, the moments leading up to your divorce.
Yeah.
You said. How about you?
The circumstances.
The circumstances surrounding it.
Yeah.
How about you, Vince? Can you think of a specific time or situation, just in case there's someone out there that's going through it, that you experienced those type of feelings of not wanting to be here anymore?
Not exactly. I've had experiences almost like often, right? Where it's like, where I do feel like I'm not providing value to anybody. Mm. But I haven't gone to the extreme where I would think, is it better without me? Like permanently? Yeah. Because I know that I can excuse myself from things. But if I take the extreme on it, I can't come back.
Yeah.
Like maybe I just need to give him or her or whoever some space. And I just like, okay, well, I guess I'm just eating ramen this month, mm-hmm. Or I guess I'm just not dating this person anymore, or whatever. So, and I think that, so I was with someone last night, mm-hmm. and she was like, "Oh, you really like pain?" I was like, "No, I just know I'm not gonna die."
Yeah.
So sometimes, even though like something hurts me, or I'm like going through something and I just don't want to go through it anymore, I always think, well, I'll get through it. So it kind of sucks, but I also understand that I don't fully understand depression, because like somebody described it to me. She said it was like having an itch that you can't scratch. Mm-hmm. And I haven't gotten to that point yet. So I really empathize for that, and I don't know how to relate to that, and for things like that, it's like I don't know how to help.
Yeah.
That's one of those times where I feel like I'm useless.
For me personally, when I think back to a time, like you said, there's ebbs and flows in life, right? If I had to choose a time, I can remember it was when I was in that relationship where I was with the narcissistic person that I mentioned a couple of times, and I'll never forget, we got into a really big fight. The fight was physical, like it got physical, and I was pregnant at the time, and he locked me out of our apartment, and all I had on was little itty bitty shorts, a tank top, and I was barefoot. And he locked me out of the house at like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. And I remember walking. Do you guys remember, or are you guys familiar with the Mission Valley area, the apartments that are now called the Village? It's like on the...
Is it the one that you can see across?
You can see it from the 15 freeway. It's like near...
Oh wait, yeah. I know which one.
Yeah,
I
they
think.
used to be called Mission something something. But anyways, so it's like a big hill to go up there. And I
Yeah.
remember I was barefoot and I walked down the big hill to get to a payphone because he had my cell phone. And I was just crying and like sobbing to God because I was in an abusive relationship. I was pregnant with a guy that I didn't want to be with. He had stolen all of my money. We were going to get evicted. It was just like you said, a compounding of things. And I remember crying out to God and just being like, if you get me out of this situation, I promise I'll be a different person. You know, I'll make better decisions. I mean, that didn't last. But I just, you know, if we're talking about specifics, that was definitely one of the times in my life where I felt my lowest. And I was like, you know, I must be a bad person. If this is happening to me, I must deserve this, you know.
What have I done?
What have I done? Yeah. Now I'm bringing a child into this world with this crazy person. You know, it's my fault. And so that was definitely one of the lowest times in my life. And I still remember like crying out, like how I sounded and what I felt when I was like crying out to God, like, please just like get me through this, like get me out of this, and walking my ass to a fucking payphone barefoot to call my best friend to come and save me, you know?
No, go on.
What are you doing?
I want to show you something later.
No, don't. Or you don't do my
No,
side profile.
you know. Okay, you know what it is? Is like I didn't want to bring this up because this is a serious subject, but that dog is really paying attention to you. And that's all I see is just like,
So this,
oh really?
This is my son's hydro flask, and I borrowed it because I can't find mine right now. And it's got your, what's this called?
Drunks and Gamblers, my logo.
Your logo. I was like trying to think of the word.
How old's your son?
No, well, that's the thing. I was like, baby, do you take this to school? He's like, but it's Uncle Vince's sticker. I was like, I don't know, man. And he goes to a Christian school too. So I was like, dude. But he was so proud that he had his uncle's sticker on his thing. You know?
I'll make a new one, I guess.
But anyways, the dog, I don't know if you guys can see it, but it like hella is side-eyeing.
Yeah.
It's like the funniest thing. Yeah, it's staring at me for sure.
Yeah. It's judging. It's
Judging my story.
It's like,
yeah.
really? You didn't get it? Okay.
Okay, so with those stories that you guys had in mind, how did you get through it? Like, what motivated you and what pushed you to get past that really dark time when you could have given up?
Oh, mine was easy. I just, I wasn't going to die.
You didn't want to die.
No, I just knew that like whatever I'm going through, it's not going to kill me.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? And then there's a lot of times where I feel useless or like underappreciated or whatever, where I can't contribute. But I know that there's somewhere somebody can benefit either from my resources or talents or can learn from my mistakes. That's why I do this podcast, because I make a lot of mistakes, and you guys can either listen to the lessons that I've learned or just be like, I don't want to be like him, I'm gonna be opposite. You know what I mean? No, a lot of the things that I have that I think are good in me are not because I had a mentor, it's because I've seen somebody that I didn't want to be like.
Interesting.
So
it's like reverse mentoring.
Reverse mentorship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's actually kind of true, because even as a parent, kind of off topic, but I remember being like, I don't want to do those things as a parent, like that I would see other people do. So that's actually a smart method, I feel. What about you, Queer Rich?
I realized it wasn't me. Right?
So you had self-realization, basically.
Well, like I'm like at the core, I'm pretty like simple and resilient. Mm-hmm. Like Vince says, oh, I guess I'm just eating ramen today. But then if there's another person around that are like, what do you mean just ramen? Like, even though you have to, because you have to save money to make ends meet, why can't it be, somebody's like, oh, it has to be a steak dinner instead of ramen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So then you realize that the pressures put upon you
is not necessarily
externally, right?
Are external pressures by somebody else. So it's not so like when you're asking yourself, why me? It's not that you're at fault. It's not like I did anything wrong. Maybe I had faults in it, but it's not necessarily like a lot of this is not necessarily just me.
Yeah. It's kind of like what he said. There's other factors involved that you have to keep in mind when you're going through tough times.
Yeah, and it's cool when you can just start taking care of yourself. You know, like it got to that point where, so when I was earlier DJing, you know, I was like, oh, I'm a DJ. I'm more arrogant, you know. I'll walk in places, I'm like, they're all here to see me. It really wasn't like that, but yeah, it was one of those things where it's like, oh, I'll put my name on the flyer and stuff like that. No, I'm just like, I don't care. At first it was that, and then I'll be like, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this, and then the promoters would be like, all right, cool, we got you. So I had to sell these bottles, I had to bring a guest list and everything like that. Now I really don't care.
So
and I'm having so much more fun because I'm DJing. For me, don't get me wrong, I still take a lot of requests, but for the most part, I just play whatever the hell I want, you know, and do it the way that I want to do it. If I want to blast through songs, like in the middle of the verse, I'll do that. If I want to listen to the entire song, or if I want to wait and not skip the whole song just to get to Chris Brown's part, I'll do that. If I only want to hear Chris Brown's part, I'll cut out Drake because I think that Drake sucks.
So basically you're saying that what helped you get through it is basically
Do it for me.
doing it for you.
Yeah. And then it happen when you do stuff like that, what happens is you start realizing that 4 quarters are more valuable than 100 pennies.
Yeah.
And I would rather be around 4 people that really enjoy all of the stuff that I like than 100 people that are just trying to be in a video, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Quality over quantity.
yeah.
I agree with that. For
Yeah.
Sure.
And the good thing is that eventually quality will get quantity if you want that.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I know you two are a little bit different because, you know, as men, right, you tend to deal with stuff internally or on your own.
I like how you said you guys are a little bit different, and then you said the thing that we're the same.
No, I mean, like, you two are different from like I would say like women, you know, like that, or even some men, you know, like you guys are different in the sense of you're very, because I know men that are more emotional, you know, and but you two are very, I want to say, strong, but also you kind of just don't give a fuck, like, you know what I mean? So, but keeping in mind the topic and our listeners, what type of support do you think worked for you when you were going through hard times, when you did reach out for support?
Can I answer this? Because it bounces off of the way that you just described this. Can I say? So it's not that we don't give a care about those things. We just know what to care about.
Okay.
So it's like there's some people that are very emotional and they care, or as you put it, the way that you put it, they care about everything, and I only have a finite amount of care that I can give. So I just
distribute it properly.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same. It's like, for me, I came to the realization that why am I giving a fuck about somebody or something that doesn't give a fuck about me? Why am I investing so much time and effort into something that doesn't return the same effort back to me?
Yeah.
But for listeners or our viewers that might be looking for like, okay, well, if that type of support worked for them, maybe I'll try that. You know, what kind of support, like if there was a support that you did, because, you know, obviously there are going to be times where you guys are, okay, so even though they're speaking the way like this, like I want to let you guys know, if you have not been following us for a long time, Rich and Vince are probably some of the best people you'll ever meet, because they will bend over backwards for their friends. I mean, not everybody, like they said, but
Not in that way, okay?
not in that way,
Not in
right?
that
But
way.
in the sense of like,
Wait, which friends?
that's what I was going to say.
What-
Specific friends, right? Worthy friends. They're really, really good friends. They'll be there. They'll be the first to be in the audience to support. They're the first to help when there needs to be something to be helped with. They will literally do whatever they want for their friends, but they're also one of the last to ever ask for help, I've noticed as well. So with that being said, in times that you did seek help or support, what kind of things worked for you?
I didn't really, I'll be honest, I didn't ask anybody, because it goes in line with what you're saying. I didn't ask anybody because I didn't want to bother anybody with it.
You don't want to burden anyone.
So I took it upon myself to either read self-help books,
Okay, so
You know,
that's good.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't. Yeah. So if you're looking for like mentorship and stuff like that, you read articles. You're looking at, back in the day, it was kind of harder to read articles because, we didn't have the high speed internet.
Yeah, I know.
But you read articles and then you start listening to.
Podcasts.
Yeah, we didn't have podcasts. Anybody with like radio?
Well, now you can.
Like radio shows.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Howard
And
Stern.
yeah, Howard Stern. Yeah,
Howard Stern, oh my
the
gosh.
beacon of relationship talk.
Yep.
And then, quite honestly, sometimes you get it from back in the day. We got it from like movies.
Yeah.
Like
Music, movies.
yeah, not music, but more or less like movies because you're watching the movie,
You're watching the plot.
you're watching the plot, and you're going, "Oh, he said something really smart." Like, why? You kind of mimic
It resonates
that.
it.
Yeah.
It resonates with you. Yeah. How about you, Vince?
Well, when you were talking about not giving an F, and then like when you were saying how people, there's actually a book about it's the subtle art of not giving an F, and it's by I forget Mark.
Are you not cursing now?
I think the book says not given. I don't say it says.
Oh.
I think it's
No, but it does. Did you not know that I don't curse in the podcast? Like it's been like 2 seasons.
Really?
never noticed it.
I never noticed that.
Yeah, I haven't said that. Like sometimes it slips out.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's just more fun for me.
Oh, I think you did mention that.
Yeah.
It forces you to use other words and okay. Anyways.
Well, it's a lot more fun too, because like you
Because you say like vaginal canal or birth canal instead of pussy. I remember.
yeah, because like you know how you can there's bad ways that you can say that there's a promiscuous woman,
Yeah.
but then I prefer to say I know a lot of people that can draw her labia from memory.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so anyways,
Going back.
going back, so that book helped out. Also, reflection, so like self-reflection. I don't actually remember the entire question.
Just what kind of support helped you in your times of need? And then Rich kind of gave a good perspective of sometimes if you don't reach out, there's ways to help yourself, like self-help books or podcasts. Like you said.
I think one of the things that you were saying as part of the question was you mentioned how we don't ask for help.
Yeah, you two are. I think we were all kind of like that on this panel. Me, you, Lonnie, Rich. We kind of have a hard time asking for help. Yeah.
I think the reason that I don't ask for help is because all of the problems that happen with me, I feel like I should be able to take care of them, and if I don't, then I should learn how.
But also, I think she means help, like in general, not just emotionally but more or less like, hey, I need to clean up the studio. Are you free Sunday? I need help.
Yeah.
You wouldn't ask anybody. You kind of clean it up yourself.
Well, yeah, because you guys are gonna wrap my wires wrong. And okay, so I know that there's a lot of messy people around, and I'm one of them. But it's like, was it organized chaos?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I know where I put something, even if it's in a random place, I'll know that it's there. And that's why I don't like help, because it might be clean. Like I've had girls clean here before as a nice gesture.
And you can't find
And then I can't find anything. But then when everything's messy, I know where everything is. Like I know how many paper clips are in the in the what's it called? In the office. There's 16.
Wow.
like organized OCD chaos.
Right.
Yeah. But going back to your question, I also realized that there are people that are better at me, or there are people that are better than me at the things that I do. So I want to be the best that I can be, but I know that there's always going to be somebody better. So eventually I'll ask somebody for their help.
Okay. So don't be afraid to ask for help,
Yeah.
guys. I think that's the biggest takeaway for Suicide Prevention Month is don't be afraid to ask for help. Have you guys ever
And don't be afraid to be heard.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So my next question is have either of you experienced knowing someone that was at risk or has expressed to you that they wanted to unalive themselves, or that they were going through a dark time that you were concerned that they were going to unalive themselves?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, that was the worst.
Okay. So can you tell me a little bit about that experience, being the supporter instead of the one going? Like, what was this person going through and how did you support them?
Just going through, life struggles, pressures from parents and whatnot. Expectations, unrealistic expectations. A lot of they were going through a lot of like hypocritical stuff. Like their parents would want them to do one thing, but it's actually against what their parents normally would do, kind of thing. And I just asked. Okay. I mean, that's the first thing I did was like, are you thinking about hurting yourself? And at that point, they said yes. And at that point, now we have something to relate. I'm like, I've been there too, but here's what happens.
I love that you addressed that, because that's actually something that I was going to make a point of as well. Is a lot of times people are scared to even ask people that question because it's so taboo, or it's like, how do I ask it without being judgy, right? But sometimes, like, especially like when I was doing research about this, psychologists and psychiatrists like literally say, don't be afraid to just ask, because sometimes that's all that person is waiting for, is for someone to care enough to ask.
Well, sometimes when you ask, it opens a door for them to tell you exactly what's going on.
Right.
And at that point, you might not be able to relate as far as taking things to the extreme, but you can relate to the situation that's getting them there.
And the feelings that they're experiencing.
And the feelings that they're, you can say, I've been there too, but look at it now.
How about you, Vince? You said yes, that you have known someone that was going through something like that. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
This isn't really the episode for that, but I'll still say it. See, the reason it sucked is because it was the girlfriend that would weaponize it against me.
Okay.
And I'm not, I don't want to put a bad stigma or anything, but it sucked because we were getting to the end of the relationship and she was doing that. And that's how I learned how to teach somebody how to cheat on me.
If you haven't heard about that, refer to some of the past episodes. Yeah. That's an interesting story.
Like this is a serious episode, and this story did actually happen.
Yeah.
And it sucks that I don't know how to describe it any other way than comically, but yeah, I had to help my girlfriend cheat on me so that I could get out of this relationship
without being scared that she was going to hurt herself.
Yeah, exactly.
And sometimes looking at it comically is actually the way out of it too.
Right.
It's a coping mechanism that helps a lot of people be able to move past whatever they're going through.
Yeah, it's true. So what were some signs? Because I know you asked, right? So for people out there listening, what were some signs that you noticed in this person that you asked, like, are you thinking about harming yourselves, that led you to that question?
It's just the way that they were talking. It's like, I'm just so stressed. I'm doing this. I feel, I'm dumb. I'm useless. Blah blah blah. And at that point, I'm gonna ask that question because at that point, the person's already at the lowest point.
Right.
As far as their mindset, they're at their lowest point, and how much lower? At that point, you're just making irrational decisions. So you want to make sure that you ask that question, because if you don't, that conversation with you that day when they're throwing it out to you about how useless they are and whatever, that can just be a trigger point to make them say, today's the day.
Yeah.
It's almost like a reminder, like, you know what I mean? It's like unscabbing that wound.
Yeah.
So I know yours was a little bit different because yours was used to weaponize, but did you see any signs that would lead you to believe that she would truly do that?
I'll be honest with you. I took it to heart that it might happen, but all of the things that, like I I took it seriously, 100%. But I never thought that she would do anything. To be honest with you.
I mean, I get that because there is okay. So speaking to that, I think that's why it is important to speak about this subject because there are so many people out there that do use it in a negative way, in a way of weaponizing and getting things to, not getting things, manipulating people to do what they want. And to me, that almost like fucking pisses me off like so much because it's like there are people out there that are actually truly hurting, that are actually in need of help, that are actually going through these dark times and would actually do it. And most of the time, those are the people that are quiet about it. You know, they're not the ones going around threatening, I'm going to kill myself. You know,
that was like, the thing is that my friend that actually
tried
that passed away, that took his own life. There was no signs.
Yeah.
Like I looked up to him. Like he successful business, happy family man, had cool stuff, you know. Got to meet Michael Jordan.
Wow.
You know.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And I was just like, dang, I like my friends and I were just like, oh, what's going on? And then, you know, gave us the news and we're like, dang, that's but we had no idea.
Yeah, that's I'm gonna go through that list later, but I actually found a list of certain things to listen for and look out for that I want to share with our listeners, just in case, you know, it's something that can be helpful for someone important in your life. But yeah, one of the things that I did notice when doing research on this topic is a lot of times the quiet ones and the happiest looking ones are the ones that are really at risk of it, because
that's why they say like your happiest friends is the one you want to check on.
Yeah, exactly. And then also, side note, I know there is a stigma too that I wanted to bring up that I thought would be a cool, not a cool, but like a discussion point is, I know there was a time before I really understood mental health, right? Where I said, dude, people that kill themselves are selfish. They're only thinking about themselves. They're not thinking about what the effect is. And then I learned that people like Junior Seau, for example, right? There's enough brain damage that can happen that will lead you to do that, not knowing that you're actually doing that, you know? So there's an aspect of that too. Or depression, like Vince talked about. Sometimes the depression takes over. It's not exactly you being like, oh, I want to be selfish. You're not even thinking about things logically at that point anymore. You know, you're just, it's really...
Yeah, it's like CTE and stuff that with Junior, it's kind of rare, like in that sense, I would say, like, but
I mean, there's actually studies that have been shown lately that show that a lot of what are they called? Football players and boxers.
CTE.
Yeah, they experience those thoughts of like aggression or wanting to hurt themselves or others because of the brain damage.
Right. Yeah, but the funny thing is that mindset where you're thinking anybody that unalives themselves or does harm to themselves is selfish is what actually helped me prevent that.
Yes.
Me.
So I feel like in a normal person that is the case, right? Not normal, you know what I mean? I don't mean it like people are abnormal, but that are not experiencing a mental type of issue, right? I agree, because same, right? So because I said I would talk about myself too. So to relate to that, when I asked you guys, you know, what motivates you? You know, for me, it wasn't necessarily like I could get through this, because I know I could. I'm pretty fucking resilient. I've been through a lot of shit, and I still stand every day and smile and treat my friends with kindness and blah, blah, blah. But what motivated me is what would happen to my daughter, you know, my future daughter, or what would happen to, how would my mom feel? You know, how would the people that I would leave behind, how would it affect them?
Yeah.
So that's, I totally get what you're saying. And I think that that's a strong point to point out, because sometimes your motivator is not wanting to put other people through bullshit, you know, not be selfish. So I agree with you on that.
One of the scariest things for me was I had a dream that my daughter was crying and she was calling out to me and I couldn't answer her. Oof. I think it was because I was dead. I'm not sure.
That's deep.
Yeah.
That's scary.
I mean, it's always a thing. And it's like, you know, since we're talking about like what gets you to that point and what helps you not do it, for me, it was basically just that. It's like if I was successful, now I put the burden with funeral arrangement.
Yeah, exactly.
And all this stuff, like what are you gonna do with, like they're gonna have to go to my house to clean it up, and then it puts so much more of a burden on other people than what you think you're giving them now.
Right.
And
Exactly.
then if you're partially successful, now you could be like a vegetable,
Right.
so to speak. So now the one thing I was thinking is that if I use this gun and I was not successful, first of all, that shit would hurt. Right?
Yeah.
And second of all, I could be living a life where I had, like a few months ago or a few weeks ago, I had so much freedom. I could walk, I could run, I could watch TV, and I took that all away.
Yeah.
So how much more depressing my life would be after?
And not just for you, as you said, but for
Yeah.
the people that have to take care of you.
Yeah,
now.
somebody has to, not, you know, like,
Because there's definitely stories that I've heard out there where they weren't successful, as you said, in unaliving, and now the burden is on the family to
yeah,
take care of this.
like my daughter has to quit her job because now she got to babysit me.
Exactly.
Like, what did you just do to everybody's lives?
Yeah.
How would you suggest a non-judgmental or aggressive approach would be to someone that you think might be thinking about that? I know the person that you asked, you kind of asked directly, which sometimes is the right way to do it. But if you could think of a way or give advice of a way to approach somebody that is in a more delicate state, what would you say?
I mean, if somebody is at that point, like at that very delicate space, call the cops, call 911, get them professional help, get them to a hospital where somebody can sit there and monitor them 24/7. Because there's nothing that you can do 20 minutes from where they live,
Yeah.
right? I mean, if you really want to protect somebody, get them help. And if you can't, and if they're not willing to, sometimes you're just gonna have to force them into help.
Yeah. What if you were with that person, like say me and you were sitting together and you felt something, but I hadn't shared anything with you? How would you ask, or how would you broach the subject? Question for both of you.
Same thing. I would be like, hey, are you thinking about hurting yourself?
So you would just ask. You'd be straight up.
Straight up.
Okay. How about you? Same approach?
Yeah, I would probably do that and kind of guilt trip you, so you don't lie to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really touchy subject, and a lot of times, it's people just don't know how to react and how to. But you know, you can say, hey, are you been thinking about hurting yourself? Yes, blah blah blah. Well, have you tried seeking help? You know, give them the phone number to the suicide hotline. You know, mental health crisis hotlines. You know, stuff like that. Really drive in that they should talk to somebody. And you might not necessarily be the best person at it, but you should have the ammunition or, you know, the knowledge to give them to get them to the right place.
Yeah, and I also want to add to that I feel like, you know, asking and showing concern and suggesting help is number one, right? Like that's definitely something. But I also feel, in my opinion, that kindness goes such a long way, right? You don't know whose day you're making or what difference you're making if you just be nice to someone, you know? And I'll give you an example. The reason why I thought of that was when I was writing this episode, I remembered when I was in high school, there was, I was in the special ed, like PE class because I had gotten my back surgery and my rods. And so the class was like full of like what people would call like the losers or like the weird kids, right? And I would hang out with them all the time. And like during PE. And then
If I didn't know what group that was, did that mean that I was in that group?
I mean, I don't know. Were you in a special PE class where you couldn't do the normal sports and stuff like that?
I don't know.
Okay,
You
so
played soccer. Of course you didn't.
Oh yeah, that's
You weren't-
right.
you weren't there.
You were normal. So I was in that kind of class. I had to do that after my surgery, and I didn't even think twice, right? Because that wasn't like a thing for me. Like, oh, I'm popular. I have friends. Then I'm not going to talk to the losers. I was just nice to everyone, and I'll never forget. Like, I would talk to them in the hallways when I see them. You know, I would, and people would be like, "What the fuck? Why are you talking to them?" You know, and I'll never forget. There was a girl that brought me a necklace from this class, right? And I was like, "What is this for?" You know, and she said to me, "I'm bringing you this necklace because, or I brought you this necklace because you kept me from wanting to kill myself." That's what she told me. And I was like so taken back. I had no idea, you know? And she was like, if it wasn't for you, I would have probably unalived myself because you're the only person that showed me kindness the way that you showed me and would like talk to me in the hallways when other people would not talk to me because I'm a loser or whatever. And from that moment forward, it really dug into my head, like even just smiling at someone or even just being nice or giving someone a compliment. Like I still give compliments to strangers on the street and people look at me crazy like, what the fuck? Why is this stranger weird girl talking to me? You know, because that was like a moment in my life that was pivotal where I was like, oh my gosh, kindness and just like even saying hello to someone or smiling at someone could literally save their life, you know?
Yeah. And if you happen to be that geeky person, you don't know how the world turns for everybody else.
Right.
You don't know how the world turns for you. At one point in my life, breakdancers were cool. Then they became geeky.
Yeah.
And now they're making millions of dollars breakdancing on TV.
Or even now, right? Back in the day, do you remember when we were just talking about Birkenstocks off camera?
Yeah.
That was what like the loser kids would wear, right? And now all the kids now that are cool, they're all wearing the Birkenstocks. And I'm like,
Yeah.
see, the world keeps on turning and things change and
Well,
you just
like
never know.
even detailing wasn't a cool thing.
It was always cool when I did it.
I was like, wasn't it always cool?
No, I mean like around like they weren't really like part of like the cool kids. Because in your school, you know, when you look at
It was like
how
the
cool-
jocks.
No, they
the
were
jocks
okay.
and-
So they were the nerds of hip hop.
yeah,
Okay.
Like DJs have always been the nerds of hip hop.
yeah, because they always
Yeah.
They weren't the rapper.
They
Yeah.
they research everything. And
Yeah.
we'll cover that in a different episode, I guess.
Yes, we will. I'm just kidding. I had another question and then I lost it. What were you saying right now?
But yeah, no, but I would guess that Bill Gates, Elon Musk,
Oh, yeah.
all geeks in high school. They were the kids that sat in the back of the cafeteria talking about algorithms and
Yeah.
and coding. And people were like, "Oh, that's like fucking geeky kid." And some guys like, "Oh yeah, I'm a 4-star athlete. Look at you now."
No, okay, speaking to that, right? I remember we took in high school, I took a class where we had to do stock markets and none of us gave a shit, right? We were like, oh yeah, we had to play like pretend stocks and like purchase the stocks.
It's like econ, right?
Yeah, and we had to actually pull up the paper and really see where our stock was. And there was one kid that was super into it, right? Super into it. And we were just like, oh my God, it's not that serious. Like, this isn't real. Fast forward to later in life, I found out later in life as adults, they're like, oh, do you remember so-and-so? That fool invested in Apple.
Yeah, well, there you go.
That fool is rich as fuck now, okay?
Yeah, you know.
So
I had a Japanese girl
Exactly.
handle mine, so she probably owns like Nikon or Sony.
literally, I know, it's crazy.
I keep having to use it, Brad.
It's the energy drink. Did you have an energy drink?
I had a lot of food to eat.
Oh, that kind. I'm just kidding.
You know what sucks is I do want to contribute to this episode, but the only thing I really know how to do is like the art of distraction, and
But sometimes that's what it takes. So I think that's a very important thing to tell people too.
I think that it does help out, but then there are people that like I don't want to be disrespectful by just being like, oh, if somebody's feeling bad, tell them a joke. You know, I don't want to be disrespectful like that, but in reality, there are a lot of things that can be that can help out with distraction. I'll give you an example. When I was in a really low point in my life, I really wanted to see what was going to happen after Infinity War. Like, how were they going to get Thanos?
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm serious. I was like, if I really just take off my seatbelt and let go of the steering wheel,
I'll never see
I'll
that ending.
never know the end. No, this was an actual thought of mine. It was that there was like, oh, how is this gonna play out? Or, I'll pick up a new hobby or do something else. It's like if I'm failing at something, let me find something that I can be successful at. So although I don't feel like it's contributing a lot, the art of distraction can help.
I feel like it does contribute because there's any type of listener that can take away from here, right? Like there might be some listeners that are like, I don't want to reach out for help, so I'll do Vince's method, which is distracting myself, or some people might be like what we talked about a few minutes ago. Well, I don't want to talk to people, so I'll read a self-help book. So I think every aspect of how to deal and cope with it is important.
But I'm hesitant in contributing that because I don't want people to think, oh, he's just joking around, and I also don't want them to, I still encourage to seek help, so don't use my method as like a distraction, or to in place of, it might be enough. If it is, fantastic, but yeah.
Maybe it's not necessarily the only thing, but it can be.
It could also be a stepping stone.
That's what I was gonna say, like a step in healing, or
like a bridge
yourself.
or a segue, or
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, so how do you guys think? Because we hear about a lot of tragedies that happen in schools and work and home and churches and things like that. How do you think these places can build an environment where people can feel safe enough to talk about suicide prevention, or to teach people to reach out for help? What kind of things do you think schools and workplaces can provide, or what kind of environment can they provide?
I think I don't know how to say this word. Is it anonymity?
I know what you're trying to say. I can't say it either. Being anonymous.
Yeah, I think that would help out a lot.
Anonymity? That's a funny sounding word.
Because I don't want to say animosity.
No.
Because that's not right,
No.
right? Okay. Because I don't know what that is.
Why can't I say it?
And I'm like thinking, okay, it's not where Nemo lives. It's anonymity. Anonymity.
Yes.
Anonymity.
Anonymity.
Okay, that I think that helps out.
What's
so,
Nemo again? Like not what's Nemo? What's
Anemone.
He's an enemy.
an enemy?
Like
and
he's the foe.
Okay, an enemy, and then anonymity.
Yes.
Did I say it?
Yes.
How did you get that? Anonymity. So yeah,
Which is like, oh my god.
So if you're. And it's okay to feel embarrassed to talk about things. But if you can do it anonymously,
Nice.
to somebody, like if there's a 800 number or whatever, you could do that. I'm not saying just go on Omegle and just start talking.
Some people do that when they're lonely, though.
Yeah.
How about you, Rich? What are some ways, if you could think? Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
Ways that our
Schools or work can provide like a place of, safety, or an environment where people can feel the need, or not the need, feel like they can reach out, because sometimes people feel like they can't.
I think you just have to make it well known that there are resources available to the students or to your congregation, or your not congregation, your congregation. But also, I think that your educators and then your pastors, priests, whichever denomination you're at, they also have to be well versed and well trained in how to deal with those situations.
I like that.
I think that at some point we owe it to our kids, especially in school, because a lot of schools are state funded, right?
Yeah.
So it's my tax dollars paying for that. So if my kids are going there, I would want those resources available.
Yeah.
It's it's a little trickier with high school and in schools or whatever. I'm not really well versed in the psychological nature or how to deal with this on that school level, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a little tricky because school itself is so cliquey.
Right.
But you would just have to make sure that you kind of like I would say you just be like a school that fosters like involvement with every sector of the demographic.
Mm-hmm.
So your school just doesn't like praise the jocks.
Mm-hmm.
Your schools just doesn't praise these. They have like, you know, be like, okay, these are artists. Like let us foster art, and I think that's also what's missing in schools is that due to funding, a lot of these clubs and these things where kids can go in and find people with mutual interests are slowly disappearing.
Yeah. No, I agree with you, especially because, so I have a kid that goes to a normal public school now, right? And then I have another kid that goes to a school where you had to have a lottery to get in, right? And I love that school because it shows what you're talking about. They have a psychiatrist 24/7, like on site for kids to come to anonymously, if they so please. They split the school up. This is not the public school, standard public school. Obviously, I'm talking about the other school. They split the school up in teams, and you stay with that team so that there's like the support system, and then they have an advisor that they look to, you know? So it's like everybody's accepted, you know, like obviously every school has like little cliques, but it's not like what you see in a standard school, right? It's like you kind of see everybody. I was really impressed actually. Like you see, and they kind of force you to work in teams because the way that they model their school, they say that they will like to model it as in the real world, not high school. So they kind of force people to work together and the teams to work together. And my kid has hung out with like jocks in her team or have become friends with the goth person, you know, because they're forced to like talk to each other, and they constantly have these like what's it called, like events that talk about mental illness and mental awareness and things like that. So I feel like what you're saying is true, and it should be integrated in more schools. Like you said, our tax dollars should be paying for shit like that instead of, I don't know what our tax dollars pay for. But here's the sad thing is a lot of teachers are leaving that school because the funding is so low. You know what I mean? So it's like, maybe we start.
Well, we divert different programs because there's a lot of things that are part of your school programs that don't make a lot of fucking sense for the kids either. And they're just there for certain reasons.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so I wanted to, before we ended the episode, I found this list that was, I should have written down the source, but it's basically a list of warning signs to listen for people that are out there, just so that you can be a support to anybody that's going through hard times right now. And a lot of it we actually kind of touched on based on the things that you talked about. It says warning signs to listen for. When you hear your friends expressing thoughts of hopelessness, feeling like a burden, or being trapped. That's something that you need to kind of like keep your ear out for. Significant mood or behavior changes, such as withdrawal, sleep disruption, irritability, or constant wanting to sleep. Increase substance abuse. So if you see a friend going out drinking every day or needing some kind of vice every single day just to cope with life, that's another warning sign. Giving away possessions or making final arrangements.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a big warning sign. And then this one, I feel, is probably not noticed as much, which is kind of what leads to what we said, the quiet one actually being successful in doing it. One of the last ones says, sudden calm after a period of distress. This indicates that they have a plan going on in their head now, so they feel a sense of calm. So those are some warning signs to look for.
Because normally we go, you doing good? Oh, you doing? I mean, he's calm now. Everything's passed.
Yes, exactly.
You know, and then we kind of just ignore them at that point. Yeah.
Exactly. So look out for those warning signs. And I just wanted to also say, I know that the people on this panel, we kind of talked a lot about dealing with it yourself or dealing with it internally or kind of just telling yourself, you can get over it, or you're strong enough to get through this. But I want to say to the people out there that are not feeling strong enough, that are feeling like a burden, I want to tell you that you're not alone. And please don't be scared to reach out for help, because you'd be surprised how many people actually want to help you. So don't be scared to ask for help. I know that all of us here need to do a better job of working on that too. But also I feel like, being not okay is okay. It's okay to not be okay. Is that the the saying? It's okay to not be okay, and it's okay to ask for help. So
but it's a lot better to be okay.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And you can get through it. And I don't know the exact quote, but I know one of the things that I used to kind of like live by is after the storm comes the rainbow, right? Or after the rain comes the rainbow, something like that. That used to be one of my favorite quotes. And then also,
if it's raining at night,
there's still a rainbow that happens after.
Well, according to the great poets,
after every storm,
Milli Vanilli, after the rain washes away the tears and all the pain, after the rain, you live again. Yeah.
Thank you, Milli Vanilli.
Thank you.
And then also, you've said this on our podcast before, which I think is a really good takeaway and is also a kind of a known quote, is if you've made it to today, you've made it through your hardest days, right?
Yes.
So you can make it through another hard day.
Yeah.
So with that being said, final thoughts to any of our listeners in regards to suicide prevention and awareness?
I just say you matter. You matter to somebody. No matter how you feel, no matter how you think you're a loser, whatever, you matter to somebody.
Exactly.
And then all you have to do is say something. Say something. Because the most frustrating thing that you can leave your friends and your family with is the regret of them going, what if I was able to do something?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
You have friends that can relate. Mm-hmm. You don't know what happens in everybody's lives.
Right.
Right. As you say, you could be the one saying, oh, my life is this, my life is that. Then you talk to a friend and you go, oh shit, my life ain't that bad.
Oh, that actually reminds me, I'm sorry to like stray off ending the thing, but I think it's like an important story to tell. So when I went to my 20-year reunion, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're that old, guys.
Well, I'm on my 30 year.
Right.
Yeah.
So there was a wall of pictures, which was actually really sad, of people that had unalived themselves from my class, right?
Really?
Yes. And there was like half of there was like solid good people in that. There was probably at least 10 to 15 people on that wall. And a lot of them we all had talked to and would never think like, oh my gosh, like they would do that, right?
Yeah.
But the people that were there at the reunion talking, we were like, oh my gosh, so-and-so was the president of ASB. He was always so happy. Come to find out, when we were all talking, I was in ASB and I was super involved in school because I didn't want to be home because my parents were abusive, alcoholics, this and that. Another person, I was she's super studious. She's such a good person, a good worker, She shares, well, I was studious because XYZ was going on at home. So to basically my point is to what you're saying is you don't know that sometimes people are going through the same shit as you or going through harder shit and you can relate with them or get through it together, you know?
See, distractions.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Do you have any final thoughts or
that doesn't
advice?
count? I figure if I just stopped talking, that would have been my final thought.
Oh.
No, you have to ruin it.
Now you gotta think about.
Now I gotta think of a new final thought.
You could just be silent again.
There you go.
There you go. All right, you guys. So thank you guys. Is that actually your final thought? Okay. So I want to leave you with, if you do not feel comfortable with talking to anybody that you know personally, please dial 988. That is the Suicide Crisis Lifeline, and that is relevant for anybody in the United States. Outside of the United States, I don't know what, there's a number for that too. But for the United States, 988 is the general suicide hotline. So that's your resource. There's more resources that are specific to your area. You just need to look them up, but they're there. Okay.
Yep.
So thank you guys for tuning in. I hope that this message either helped you get through something or resonated with you and helping one of your friends or something like that. And we'll see you guys on the next one.
Bye.